It's time to learn how to sell advertising. Are you ready? There's lots of job opportunities here, so get ready to take some notes. It's kind of a long one, so let's hit it. The idea is that we are a website and we want to make money, and we've gone through a number of different ways of how to make money, but we're going to focus now just on what we need to know to make money by selling ads. So remember, we're the website and we're making money by selling ads. So there's two different approaches to selling ads for a website. There's an easy way and there's a hard way. And there's a real easy place to start. Advertising is an easy way to make money. It's usually the low-hanging fruit. And it can be easy. Like I said, I'll show you an easy way. But it can also be kind of elusive and difficult. So there's two ways I'm going to show you, the easy way and the difficult way. Let's start with the easy method. And that's something that is totally falls under something called an advertising network. So what an advertising network is the publishers, and that's us, we're in a web publishing class. We're the ones that want to make money by selling ads. We're a website trying to make money by selling ads. And if we belong to an ad network, all we have to basically do is copy and paste some code on our website and the ads will automatically appear on our website. And the publisher will make money, but we're just going to make a small percentage of the ad sale. The network's going to make most of that money. So what is a network? Well, I think this simple illustration helps you understand. There's a company, and I'll show you what some of the names are in a minute. Of course, Google is one of them. And the company hosts ads in its servers in the cloud. So it sells ads to advertisers like these at the top up here. It sells the ads, and then it gets publishers like these websites down here to belong to the network, and then it matches up the ads with each of the websites. So there may be tens of thousands of advertisers, and there may be hundreds or thousands of publishers, and the network does all the work. They sell the ads, they collect the ads from the advertisers, they store the ads in the cloud, and then they manage all the code that figures out which ads should run on which website. And so it's pretty easy for the web publisher. One of the big ad networks is Google, of course, Google AdSense. There's many others though, but Google AdSense is what we'll focus on. In fact, I have a video here that explains how absolutely easy it is for publishers.
We all have a reason for being in this business. There's a core desire to put information out there, to find things out and to make it public.
The idea of being able to go and teach 1 billion people something is really meaningful. It's a very empowering thing.
My passion is food. I have a lot of things to share. AdSense is for me an easy way to put ads on my food blog and to earn money and to focus on my content.
All you have to do is drop a little code in your website and immediately it starts working.
It would be impossible to make it any easier.
I work now full-time for my blog and it's just fantastic for me.
El sitio, no sé si nos cambió la vida, porque nuestra vida es el sitio.
AdSense gave me a chance to do something good for the others. It's given me the freedom to do what I want. You can't beat it.
So pretty fantastic, right? Most of the businesses featured there, as you can tell, are small businesses. So ad networks are most popular with small businesses, but some big companies like the New York Times will fill out their ad inventory with ad network ads. That's the easy method, is the advertising network. It's good for publishers because it's easy. They just copy and paste some codes. The publishers don't have to hire salespeople. They don't have the headaches of advertising contracts and collecting money. Basically, it's just super simple. What are the drawbacks then? Well, the publisher doesn't get as much money as the next difficult method coming up. The ad network gets the lion's share of the money. The network is going to get about 80 to 90% of whatever the advertisers are paying, And that participant, the smaller ones, smaller websites who belong to an ad network, they might get 10, 15, 20% of whatever the advertisers are paying. So you don't get as much money. And maybe depending on how you as the publisher set your ad network settings, you might end up with a lot of remarketing ads on your site. Does that sound familiar? Remarketing? It probably doesn't, but you've seen them and you probably don't like them. And that's why I put it in a drawback, because a lot of people don't really like remarketing ads. Remarketing ads are those creepy ads that follow you around the internet, right? So if you go to Amazon and search for this orange wig, which I happen to think is really cool, you go to another site and you're going to see that same product you were just looking at. Sometimes it's within minutes, right? You can't escape it. Those are called remarketing ads. And they work. You see a lot of them because they work. They remind someone, hey, you saw this wig, now go back and buy it. And they absolutely work. But a lot of people find them pretty creepy. Raise your hand if you think those ads are creepy. If you raised your hand, I want you to know there's something you can do about those creepy ads. And if you've ever noticed these little blue triangles that appear in ads, banner ads, this is how you control the creepiness. This is a third-party company called Ad Choices. And Ad Choices lets you set your own preferences for your ads. It's kind of cool. So I'm going to open this up and just give you a quick, demo. But basically, I ran this already. You click this button, and it runs a query. It's already gone. It runs a query of your browser and what's going on in your browser. It's running this query right now. And it's going to see what kind of cookies have already interacted with your browser and tell you kind of what's going on with those companies, what they're doing with your data and what they're not doing with the data. And you can see it's got a status check here. These are all the companies that have thrown cookies on my computer or in my Chrome browser, and I can go into these and change the settings. Now, most of these you're not even going to recognize. You won't recognize the names, but a lot of them, they have to do with ads, and that's why you get a lot of click names like this. And it says here whether or not each company is customizing ads in your browser, and you can opt out. You don't have to have that. So you can click these to opt out of specific companies, or you can just opt out of all of them. So that's just a quick demonstration of how you can set your privacy settings using Ad Choices. Now you know what that little blue triangle is for. It's time to move on to the difficult way to raise money or to earn money if you're a web publisher, if you want to make money selling advertising. The easy way is belong to an ad network. The difficult way, you sell the ads yourself. You do all the footwork. And if you're going to do this, your first and most important step is to understand your site visitors. It gets a yellow highlight. It's so important. Now, if you've been in any advertising classes, you already hear the repetition of understanding who your target audience is, right? You have to understand people. If you really like people, you could like advertising, because the more you understand people and then specific groups, audiences, target audiences, the better you're going to be at advertising. It's the single most important thing if you're going to sell ads. You have to know who's coming to your website. And it's a process of you being able to tell your potential advertisers who those people are. Because advertisers, yes, they're buying ads from you, but they're really buying your visitors. They want to put a message in front of those visitors. They have to know who those visitors are to decide if those visitors are likely to buy their products or not. If you can't tell an advertiser who's going to see their ad, you're not going to be able to make money selling ads. And that's why this gets a yellow highlight. The first step to selling ads on your website is understanding your site visitors. And isn't it, it's so important, it gets a double notice there. But isn't it funny that that was also the first step to offering good user experience, knowing your site visitors? You have to know who they are. So there's a lot to business in general that if you want to be successful, you have to think about who your customers are. They care about things you might not know, and they count more toward any sort of success metric. So to offer good user experience, you have to know what your site visitors want, and to sell ads, you have to know who your site visitors are. So all this stuff works together for successful businesses. So how do we understand our site visitors? Well, you probably aren't surprised to see Google Analytics, right? I introduced you to Google Analytics in at least the second week of class, if not the first. Your very first paper, you were studying your site metrics, and you were just starting to see what data is important as it relates to site visitors. And this is important for advertising too. All this stuff comes back again. And also, do you remember I mentioned recently about how some websites make money by selling user data, and they gather data maybe at checkout, like that IKEA example? Well, that is because those sites are trying to understand their visitors. The more they know about their visitors, the more likely they are to be able to sell ads to advertisers who want to reach their site visitors. So the more information we can get from visitors, the better. So I showed you in another video that IKEA example, but this is just another one that's really similar. This is This Old House. It's a magazine and website for people that restore older houses. And in this case, This Old House is using newsletters to obtain information about who's coming to their site and to figure out what their site visitors are interested in. So, they're asking name and email address, but check this out. They're also asking for a zip code. Don't you think that's funny for a digital property to ask a zip code? This Old House is not going to mail anything. If they were going to mail something, they would need a mailing address. They're not going to mail anything. Why do they need the zip code? Think about it. So if you're thinking it's because they want to know generally where these people live, you're absolutely right. Because they're going to sell this information to advertisers. So this is outdoor product here. I think it's Steel brand. This product might not be available in every part of the country. I know it's available in Maryville. True Value sells it in Maryville, but this product might not be available in California. So this advertiser doesn't want the ad to appear for people who are looking at this page who live out in California if the product's not even available to them. That means this advertiser is wasting money. And you might think, oh, it's no big deal if some people in California see the ad. Well, it's a huge deal because these ads are expensive. So advertisers can't afford to waste money. They need to know who's going to see the ad, and they only want their ad to be shown to people who make the most sense for them. So web publishers do things like this. They offer newsletters and they ask questions. So they ask name, email address, but also where do you live, zip code. But then, depending on this example, depending on which newsletter these site visitors sign up for, they're also learning more information. They might know if they're, just generally interested in home improvement, but maybe their focus for some visitors is just environment, a greenhouse. Maybe they're interested in the environment. Maybe they're interested in kitchen and bath. That's this part here. Maybe they're interested just in gardening. You can see automatically how different advertisers are going to line up with each of these categories. Some advertisers are going to be environmentally friendly products. Some are going to be kitchen and bath products. Some are going to be yard and garden. And so advertisers only want to show their ads to people who check these boxes. The people who check that, This Old House is going to be able to track those people and then show them the appropriate ads, kind of like this. So here's an ad for a plumbing kind of thing. This is a shower attachment, and it's only going to be shown in certain areas of the site and for people who are interested in certain products. So everything we're talking about now relates to understanding your audience. You have to know who your audience is so you can tell potential advertisers. What do you do with that information once you know about it? Well, you put it in something called a media kit. If you've taken advertising classes, you probably already know that a media kit's a package of information for potential advertisers. This is just a screenshot from O and their media kit. See, you can see a reference to a media kit here, and it's got information about audience, it's got information about how much the ads cost, and basically some of the basics of what every media kit includes. So the media kit's going to include information about the audience in terms of metrics like monthly unique visitors. It's going to have engagement metrics because advertisers want to make sure that there's long it's time on site and lots of page views. Remember those metrics? Advertisers need to know those metrics because they want to make sure their ads get noticed. You're going to need to know demographics of your visitor. That's maybe gender, household income, level of education. You're going to want to know the interests of visitors. That example from This Old House showed that perfectly. Of course, a media kit is going to also tell advertisers how much the ads cost and what kind of ad options there are. That would mean different types of ads, different sizes, different combinations of ads. And there's really a lot more in the media kit, and you can take other advertising classes to learn more about that. But the idea is it lets potential advertisers figure out whether or not your site's going to be a good place for them to run ads. Again, the advertisers are buying your visitors. They want to know that their message is going to make sense to the people who come to your website. So you have to know who comes to your website. I've just got a couple screenshots out of a USA Today media kit just to give you an idea of what's in there. Shows the quantity of visitors, so it reaches over 119 million Americans. Some demographics, age, millennial, digital, what their digital interests are. This page out of USA Today's media kit also does some comparison for advertisers across different sports media options. So any given advertiser can put their money in so many places. It's so competitive. So if you're Gatorade, you're probably thinking of running an ESPN, right? Well, USA Today Sports wants some of that money from Gatorade. So they're showing where they stand compared to some of the bigger sports media properties. So obviously USA Today Sports Media is huge, but it's not as huge as ESPN, but they're trying to prove that it's not that small, that it really reaches a lot of sports media people, 49.4 million sports media readers USA Today has. So you'll see this kind of information in media kits also. So again, we're walking through the difficult way for you to make money if you are a web publisher, and the difficult way is selling the ads yourself. And when you choose to do this, you're going to find you have all kinds of decisions to make. Maybe even just looking at some of the pages of the media kit gives you a hint as to all the decisions you're going to make. What size ads, how much are they going to cost? And in order to help you make these decisions, there's a group, and it's called the IAB, and it stands for Interactive Advertising Bureau. And this is a group that has a lot of guidelines for web publishers to follow for all of the decisions that they need to make. So you'll see best practices and guidelines across a number of different categories, different types of ads, and even podcast ads, all kinds of things the IAB is going to help with. There's a screenshot of what I just showed you. Let me just give you a hint as to why you need these guidelines, okay? I want to show you a few comparative screenshots. I'm going to show you the front page of 3 different websites. They happen to be, I think they're all news sites. And I want you to look at this ad here. So this homepage of the New York Times has basically 3 ads that we can see right here. They've got this big ad and then 2 button ads here. So watch when I go to the next site, USA Today. Did you notice that this ad here is the exact same size? It's a different advertiser, it's MasterCard, but it's the exact same size. And look at this. Okay, this is the Washington Post. Those 3 ads are the exact same size. So when I say the IAB helps you make decisions and it has guidelines and standards, one of the big guidelines and standards they have is ad dimensions. That means the proportion, the dimensions of an ad. That means that there's a standard ad size so that these websites have an easier time selling those ads, right? So USA Today can call up, in this case, it is Citi, and the previous one was Citi also. But this one is IBM. So these are two different advertisers. But let's just look at New York Times and USA Today. USA Today can call up Citibank and say, I see you're running some ads in the New York Times, and I have a special today, and I will give you 50% off of our homepage banner ad if you can sign the contract within the next 3 hours. And, Citi's going to say, wow, 50% off. Yeah, I need to get my message out. And they're going to look through the readership and ask all those questions. But one thing that's not discussed is Citibank's not going to say, I don't have an ad that fits on your website. USA is going to say, I see you're running an ad and we have a spot for that exact same ad, the exact same dimension. All you have to do is send me the ad and I can have it going by the end of the day today. This is the benefit of standard ad sizes, right? So this is one thing that IAB does, is they basically have, through research over the years, over, 15, 20 years, have determined which ad sizes work the best, which ones convert the best for advertisers. And then they create basically a set of standard ad sizes. So if any of you are designers, well, if you're designing banner ads, I highly recommend that you design your banner ads according to these sizes. They're all shown in pixels. These are dimensions. And if you can, in your portfolio, maybe you have one ad that you're making, but if you can make it in all these different sizes, dimensions, and label them as IAB standard sizes, that would go there'd be a huge thing you could do in your portfolio to prove that you understand the benefit of standard sizes and that you've been exposed to IAB. So this is just one of their ad unit pages that simply shows the more common ad sizes. They have names to them. So leaderboard is one I'm going to point out. Some are called skyscraper, scraper, medium, rectangle. These are the sizes. And look over here. This is load size. So this is size in dimensions, but this is size in kilobytes. So you've studied user experience, you've studied the effects of speed. Remember the one thing that slows down a website more than anything else? That's right, photos. And that's basically what a banner ad is. It might even be a video, and that's going to slow it down even more. So a lot of this stuff you've studied in class already on user experience and speed. This is what the web publishers have to worry about when they're selling banner ads. They can't slow their site down. They want the site to load quickly. So what's the IAB do? They recommend standard kilobytes for each of the ad sizes. And not only that, but they've split those sizes in two. They're saying that one banner ad can have an initial load of, in this case, let's go to the leaderboard, 150 kilobytes. And then they can have a subsequent load of 300 kilobytes if something happens, like if the user puts his mouse over the banner, for example. If the user clicks on the banner, then there would be a subsequent load. So what the IAB is doing is trying to help all publishers balance the fact that advertisers are going to want to give publishers big, heavy, fat, slow ads with videos and interaction and audio and all kinds of stuff packed in it. But if publishers take those ads, it's going to slow down their site, and then the users won't be happy. So this is a problem for publishers to balance user experience with making money by selling banner ads that advertisers want. So what a website can say is, well, we follow IAB guidelines. If you give us a leaderboard, it can only be 150 kilobytes for your initial load, but then you can have another 300 kilobytes for a subload. Then the designers who design the banner ads are basically designing two layers of that banner ad. The first load layer, and then what happens if somebody clicks the banner, what happens if someone interacts with the banner, puts their mouse over the banner, what will they see then? So they will design the second layer of that too. So I just wanted to show you how this looks in another media kit. This is one screenshot out of CNN's media kit. So CNN is showing in their media kit that they follow IAB standards. This is that leaderboard again. There it is right there. This is what it looks like here. So this is just an example of how CNN is integrating IAB standards into their media kit. So like, look at these standard IAB placements, all of these, and they show what that ad looks like. And they then can say, hey, advertisers, if you're going to ask to do anything extra or funny, you're not going to be able to because we follow IAB standards. So it's a huge benefit that the IAB offers publishers who are trying to make money by selling ads themselves. They'll allow publishers to publish in their media kit that they follow IAB standards, and then basically everybody's just playing by the same rules and making their ads the same sizes. It also means advertisers aren't going to be asking for too much. They're not going to be asking for really heavy ads, so it makes it easier for the web publisher to sell ads, basically. So just to reiterate, you are a web publisher and you're trying to make money by selling ads. You're selling the ads yourself. This is the hard way. You want to use the IAB and you want to show on your media kit that you're IAB compliant. Exactly the same way that CNN is doing right here. They say we're IAB compliant. So this is just another screenshot from CNN to show how they integrate IAB into their entire digital media sales format. So if you want to get into sales, you want to know this. If you're going to be a designer, you want to know this. If you're going to run a website, you want to know these things. So there's a lot of different jobs that are going to integrate IAB support. And there's other ways that the IAB helps us too. They have a lot of industry events, conferences. They do training and certification. And they also provide a lot of industry research. So I'd like to introduce you to entities like this because when you are interviewing for a job, you might want to consider asking as part of your compensation package that you have some additional training in digital advertising, or maybe you get certified in some IAB digital advertising aspects, or maybe your company will send you to some events and you can learn more about digital advertising. So about this research, the IAB conducts research on industry trends and where advertisers spend their money in terms of digital advertising. And it's important for web publishers to see what the trends are in digital ads, so web publishers offer advertisers what they want, basically. So this report that I'm showing you here is a quarterly report that IAB does with PricewaterhouseCoopers. For the record, this is their most updated report right now. So I'm going to be showing examples from this report. And it looks like this. It's just the PDF version. But the reason this is good for us to look at, especially when we're just learning, is there's a lot of terms in here, vocabulary, and there's some trends that you just want to be aware of so you can interview well. If you're asked about digital advertising at all in a job interview, I want you to have all the right terminology. So trends, it'll show things like how advertisers are spending money digitally. This just shows that advertisers are putting more and more money into digital advertising. And you probably might have guessed that, but you don't want to guess too much when you do this for a living. You need data and you need research like this. Oh, cute. So what kinds of data do you need? Well, I'm going to just scroll a little bit. I know this might be making your eyes go a little crazy, but I just want to show you the kinds of things that we're going to be looking at. So you can see over the years, and IAB has been doing this since way before 2010. They've been doing it since about 2000. They just don't show all of those years. But you can see this is specifically to help us understand mobile versus desktop publishing, and they combine tablet in with mobile here. So if we're a web publisher, we can understand how many ad units are we going to need in that mobile version of our website. Somebody's got to design the mobile version, and whoever's designing it needs to understand how popular mobile ads might be with advertisers. Are you even going to be able to sell those spots if you put mobile ads in your mobile format? So this is where we go. So if you're trying to argue with your boss that you need more mobile slots in the mobile version of your website, and your boss is saying, no, mobile ads are terrible, nobody uses them, you can go to a source like this and say, yes, they do. And here it is. So this is why sources like this are good. You probably already are having debates with your boss in your jobs and internships. And when you can back your arguments with data like this, you're going to win. So this is why I like for you to have this. So I just have a few things from this report that I'm going to point out to help us learn what digital advertising is. So another page from this report, this is just a screenshot, indicates revenue by format. So revenue means for the web publishers. How are web publishers selling digital advertising? Or really in this case, what are they selling? What formats of ads? So understanding a little bit about each digital ad format is going to be important. So we're going to walk through these formats here: search, banner, video, and other. But I'd like for you to just take a minute to look at this so you can see what this chart is showing us, or these two comparison charts. They're comparing 2018 to 2019, and they just go quarterly, and in this case, half year. So what's happening? Like if you look at this, what would you say in your own words? What's happening over time? That's a trend. What's happening over time? Okay, I hope that you said that search ads are going down just a little bit, because this is search, that orange color, and they went from 46% of all revenue, all digital ad revenue in 2018 were search, but now it's only 45%. So where is that extra percent going? Well, it looks like it's not going here, because it looks like banner ads also went down 1%. And then this went up 2%. What is this red color? Video. So again, if you're a videographer and you're trying to convince someone to maybe run more video ads, this is the kind of stuff that you put forward and say, look, advertisers are spending more money on video now than they were a year or two ago, and you should be doing this too. This is how this is important. So these are the types of ad types or ad formats that we're going to be going through: search, banner, video, and other. And in other, we'll talk about classified ads. So we're going to go through these one by one, starting with search. So with search, there are two different types of search ads. And these are all IAB definitions. So I just want you to learn definitions. We're looking at ad formats or ad types. The first format is search, and there's two different types of search ads. One of them is paid listings, and the other is called contextual. So we're going to go through both of those. Paid listings, you already know. Those are those ads on the search engine results page. We've been looking at them already. And they include really any paid ad on that SERP, which is going to be shopping also. So if it's paid, if it says sponsored, and of course if it says ad, it is an ad. That is a paid message. It's an advertisement, and that is part of what the IAB puts under where advertisers are spending their money in search, if it's a search on the SERPs. The other, the paid search on SERPs. The other type of search ad is called contextual. And these ads are also run by Google or any other search engines, but you know we focus on Google. So they're run by Google, and this is why they largely are categorized as search ads with IAB. They're run by Google, but they're non-SERP ads. These are ads that appear on other websites. Do you think you've ever seen them anywhere? You probably have. You've probably seen on a website, ads by Google, and they're text ads, probably. Sometimes they're banner ads. So this is what a contextual search ad is. It's an ad not on a SERP, but on another website. And that website has copied and pasted some code to run on the website. And that code, the script, reads the page. It reads that web page and figures out what that page is about. It figures out the context of that page. The script reads the page and figures out what it's about, and that means context. What's the context of that page? And then it aligns ads that Google has sold that make sense for that page. Does any of this sound familiar? It probably should. That's right, ad networks. I've just described an ad network, right? That's contextual. here's a screenshot of how a contextual ad might look on a web page. So this is Southern Living. It's a magazine first and a website second, and it's it's a homey magazine, home garden food, stuff like that. You can see up here by the navigation names. But here on Southern Living are ads, and see how it's labeled ads by Google? These are contextual ads. And notice how the content of the ad aligns with the content of this page. Whoops, my mouse is covering that. Outdoor entertaining tips. Outdoor entertaining. Outdoor entertaining. Well, what do you need outdoors to entertain? You need some patio furniture. So these two ads right here align with that content of the page. That's because there's script on this page. Southern Living has signed up to be part of Google's ad network, AdSense. They copied code, they put it on every page. The code reads the page, figures out what the page is about, and it aligns ads to make sense for that page. Okay, so now I know you're saying, okay, well, why is GoDaddy there? Well, because not every single advertiser insists that their ad makes sense on a page. And the advertiser can have a say in that, and the publisher can have a say in that. So the publisher has said in their AdSense account, it's okay with us if you show ads that aren't strictly relating to the content of the page. And for GoDaddy, in their account, they have said it's okay if you run my ads that aren't strictly about web hosting, because there really aren't that many websites about web hosting, right? So this is an example of what contextual search ads are. So there's two types of search ads, on the SERP and not on the SERP. So we're going to look also at pricing models of ads. What is a pricing model? What's that mean? We're talking about how the ads are sold. So you'll see as I give you examples what this means. And again, this all comes from the IAB. So how are search ads sold? Well, they're sold on a cost per click or a price per click basis. So some of you have studied this in advertising class, but let's just think about this for a moment. If you're an advertiser and want to run an ad on television, say in the Super Bowl, you pay for the time that you're buying. So the Super Bowl this year was like 5.5 million, was it? Or maybe it was 6 million, something like that. And you pay, let's just say it's $6 million. And for that, an advertiser gets 30 seconds of blank airtime. So in television, advertisers buy blank airtime and they buy space. And they may pay extra for where and when that ad appears during a program. But then it's up to the advertiser to, of course, create the content, the creative, to try to make sure that whoever sees the ad is going to respond to that ad. So in television, advertisers buy space. It's the same in print and outdoor. You want to run an ad in a magazine, newspaper, billboard, you buy the space. You want a full page ad? Fine. You get a full page ad. It's blank. You create the ad and your message, and you hope to know your target audience well enough to put a good message together, but you pay for the space. That's traditional format. Well, digital ads are a little bit different, especially search. Google has developed this pricing model where advertisers can pay when someone clicks. So it's pretty interesting that Google turned the traditional pricing model of ads upside down. Imagine, so what it means is Google charges for both of their ads, their paid placement, paid listings, and non-SERP ads on a cost per click basis or price per click. These two, basically, they mean the same thing. It means the advertiser doesn't have to pay until the person who sees the ad actually responds, right? Click is a verb. They actually click that ad, they respond. Can you imagine how cool advertisers would think it would be if they only had to pay the broadcaster of the Super Bowl for when their ad performed? Okay, look, Fox Network, I'm Doritos and I want to run an ad in the Super Bowl. How about if I don't pay you unless somebody buys Doritos? Right? That's not going to happen. But Google made it happen on the SERP and non-SERP search model, search ads in this pricing model of price per click. It's really beautiful because it means that an advertiser can run an ad, and if the text of the ad is poorly written, a lot of it is, and nobody clicks on it, they don't have to pay for it. well, of course, an advertiser doesn't want poorly written ads. They want well-written ads. They want ads that people do click on, and they're good, well-written ads driving the appropriate type of traffic to their website that's going to convert into a sale. But they don't pay if nobody clicks. So it's called performance model. It's a performance pricing model. And it all happens in this Google Ads interface. Some of you have used this in advertising class, and I'm going to give you a quick demo here. This says try meal delivery or leather boots. I'm going to meal delivery and comma space. And how about, it says leather boots, but I'll try boots. I'm going to put some in here that you might be curious about, like textbooks, maybe movie, showtimes. How about real estate in Miami? And let's also do, I think you might have seen this before, but I like to show it anyway, mesothelioma. Okay, so this is that Google AdSense interface where an advertiser can go into this interface and look to see how much these ads might cost. So advertisers buy ads based on whatever keyword they're searching. So if they want to drive traffic related to meal delivery, type in meal delivery and you get an idea of how often that phrase is searched and then how competitive it is against other advertisers that are going to buy that phrase, and then the price. So you can see in this interface here, all of those things. So I happen to be searching for the entire United States. These search ads can be targeted down to they can be targeted to a neighborhood, very, very micro targeting. If you're curious about, Maryville, Missouri, we could type that in too. This shows how many average searches there are. So for meal delivery, 10,000 to 100,000 in a month in the entire United States. And advertisers are spending anywhere between $2.50 and $9.37 per click. So that's what this is over here, is the price range. So what are you looking at? You're looking at a bidding infrastructure. So those ads that appear in SERPs and non-SERPs, the pricing model is advertisers pay per click, but the price is set by the competition. It's set by the industry. That means advertisers are bidding against one another to appear higher on the SERP in the ad area, hoping to get clicked more. And they pay basically for what they want. So just for one key phrase, meal delivery, advertisers are spending a wide range of money per click, $2.50 to $9.37. That's a huge variation. So advertisers are going to choose something in there, and there's strategies on both ends of that spectrum, but that's roughly what the price per click is going to be. And it's expensive. If you've taken my Intro to Advertising class, you've studied this, you can see that it's extremely expensive. And I know you're looking at $2.50 and you're probably thinking, well, that doesn't sound very expensive at all. But if you buy advertising and you analyze how much it costs to reach each person that you're reaching, $2.50 is expensive. So if you've done this in Intro to Advertising, you might find that to reach 1,000 people in radio might be $15 or $20. To reach one person in Google on the low end here is $2.50. To reach 1,000 would be $2,500. So it's expensive. But do you remember that pie chart? What was it, 30-ish% of all money, all digital ad money is going to these types of ads. They're drastically expensive, but they work because they're perfectly aligned. They give somebody the exact information they want about a product at the exact moment they type into Google, I want information about meal delivery. I want meal delivery in Maryville. Boom, here's an ad. They're perfectly aligned ad message. And just for the record, mesothelioma, notice this, it goes up to $96.61 per click. That's right, per click. Do you know what it is? Yep, it's that asbestos-related condition. And who's buying these ads? That's right, attorneys. because they're looking for people who are afflicted with this condition or have a loved one that is, to put together a class action lawsuit, and the attorneys are going to make a lot of money. So it's worth it for them to spend $20 to $100 per person, because they might make 10,000 times that in return. So this is the pricing model. Again, this is how search ads are sold on a price per click, cost per click basis. And it's a bidding system. Advertisers bid against one another. Advertisers often would love this type of pricing model for traditional media like print and television, but print and television have said no to these requests, mainly because there's no tracking. There's not the same kind of tracking. How do you know if you've actually sold Doritos or not? It's just out of scope for traditional media to approach pricing models this way. Now we're moving on to another format, another ad format, another ad type. And the other type is banner. And a lot of times we refer to banner as display. These are really common banner ads that you see on websites. They come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. And this is where the IAB guidelines are really good for us. Those standard sizes makes it easier for us to sell. So we make sure the ads actually fit on a page. And of course, ad networks need those standard sizes because they're selling, standard sizes. So just quickly to look at some different formats, I'm on Google's Rich Media Gallery, and they outline for their ad network, of course, all these different types of ads. Right now I'm in display and video, and they all have different names: the app install, the panorama, the parallax, all these different names. Like here's a 3D swirl, and if you click on it, you get an example of what that ad's going to look like. If you could just go to standard ads, these are a little bit more standard. You've seen these probably, Google ads, Gmail ads. All of these are basically different ad formats that constitute banner ads. So they come in many shapes and sizes. And the IAB has dimensions and requirements, load sizes, and all of that for all of these different types and sizes. So again, with the IAB, it's important if you're going to sell banner ads to follow those standard ad units. That's what I showed you before. These dimensions that we've got, these names with dimensions, that's called standard advertising units, SAU. And again, it's this kind of deal where each publisher is basically running the same size ad, so it's easier for everybody. It's easier for the advertiser to make the ad that can run on several different web pages, and all of that is called standard ad units. So it's an important concept if you're going to sell the ads yourself to follow IAB. I've said it a lot, but just want to make sure you understand how important standards are in sizing. So we're talking about banner ads. And some of you might be feeling this little, questionable. I don't know about banner ads. I hate banner ads. And there's a problem for sure with banner ads. That's what we're looking at right here. There is a problem with banner ads. You'll find if you study them that they're cheaper. They're much cheaper than those search ads that get seen and get clicked. The problem is, you notice I keep doing that? Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. Okay, what did you see? Let's do this again. What did you see? Tell me what stood out more than anything in that flash of that page I've been showing. Okay, so I'm not sure what you all said, but this heat map, and if you remember heat maps from beginning of class when we talked about this, there is a concept called banner blindness, and this heat map shows it. And I've got a couple more to show you, but this is the banner ad. This is where the eyeballs went. The red indicates where the eyeballs went more than any other place on the page. Well, there's nothing here. The eyeballs didn't even look at this. So the designer probably thought, oh, this looks great. I've got this funky font. White on red is most visible. It's got the prominent location above the fold. It's the most dominant element. It's the biggest element. Certainly it's going to get seen, right? Nope, it didn't get seen. banner blindness. I think if you're a designer, it would be really interesting to use some of these online tools. You can actually submit your designs to online tools to have these heat maps run and to see if what you think about your design is what really happens in reality. If you're a designer, it's depressing. If you're the advertiser and people aren't looking at your banner ad, you're not going to get any clicks. So there's definitely something called banner blindness. You can see it here in this heat map. You can see it in this heat map. I mean, this is the ad. That is an actual ad, and nobody's looking at it on the page, even though, again, primary location, above the fold, it's the biggest item on the page. Here's another one. This is another, more like a promo than an ad, but nobody's looking at it, right? So people come to your site to do other things. So what do you do about that? Well, you probably just have to price it accordingly. That's what most websites do about it. What's the pricing model for banner ads? Well, sometimes, they're also sold on CPC and CPC and PPC, but CPM is the most common approach, and that stands for cost per mille. Now, mille is not a person's name. It's Latin for 1,000, so it's cost per 1,000, and we're talking about cost per 1,000 impressions. So an impression means that the ad loads on a page. So every time a banner ad loads, the advertiser pays, which I guess is obvious, but the website bundles 1,000 of those loads together. A load is an impression. Bundles them in groups of 1,000 and sells per 1,000. So the ads are going to be sold per 1,000 impressions. No one's going to buy less than 1,000 impressions. No advertiser is. In fact, most advertisers, the examples I was showing you on Washington Post, USA Today, those are probably running at least 50,000 impressions, at least, if not 500,000 impressions, and that could be in a day. So the idea is you need lots of repetition. So it's just like the opposite of a paid listing ad in search. So we've already seen some examples of ads on websites, but here's one right here. So you get the idea. And if I refresh this page, it's probably going to be another advertiser. It's not. Cisco WebEx. If I refresh the page again, each time I refresh, that's an impression. That's the third time. This ad from Cisco has had 3 impressions now. 4 impressions now. 5 impressions now. Okay, so they don't have a lot of other ads in this rotation, they being the Washington Post today. So that's the pricing model for banner ads. It costs per 1,000 impressions. Impressions are bundled 1,000 at a pop, and advertisers buy, tens of thousands because banner blindness. They get ignored. So again, the CPM is most common for banners, and the CPC, PPC is most common for search. Make note of that. So you can see here, this is again from the IAB's report, how advertisers are buying, where's the money going based on pricing model. And can you tell here where it's going? Performance, yes. And why is that? That's because search ads are the highest type or the biggest type of ad. And that's why the performance model, CPC, is the biggest way that advertisers are buying digital ads. CPM, this is going to be mostly banner ads right there. Hybrid, well, there's something in between, and there aren't that many of them. Well, there's a lot, but not that many. Here's another ad format, an ad type. We're still going through that initial list from the IAB. We had search, banner, video, and other, and now we're on video, digital video, of course. And we're talking about those ads that appear in videos. They appear before, during, and after the video content. You probably know these names already: pre-roll, mid-roll, post-roll. These are all names that come from the IAB. This is what we call them. So if you are used to calling them that, that's great. You're going to fit in the advertising and video advertising industry. So the pricing model for these are basically pay-per-view. That's kind of like pay-per-click, but pay-per-view is the most common pricing model for these. YouTube is, owned by Google. YouTube has basically perfected all of these video ads, when they run, how how they're priced. They're priced, based on per view, but that view, of course, is variable. Some might be clickable. Some ads are clickable to skip, and some aren't skippable. Some might be skippable, but you can only skip after X number of seconds, like 4 or 5 seconds. So there's all these layers that define what view means and how Google actually charges for these views. So this is just some terminology to make sure you're familiar with what this means. If you aren't familiar with pre-roll, mid-roll, post-roll, pre-rolls before, mid-rolls during, post-rolls after. So those are names of when the ad appears within a video. You've probably watched enough YouTube videos that you see those ads appear. If they appear before, it's pre. If they appear in the middle, it's mid. And if they appear at the end, it's post. So I don't know if you've seen this or not, but I just have to show this because this is a famous ad campaign by Geico. The perfect way to handle the fact that people skip ads when they're watching YouTube videos. Okay, you couldn't hear that, so all right, let's try that one again. Everybody ready?
Don't thank me. Thank the savings.
You can't skip this Geico ad because it's already over. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Okay, I just had to play that. It's pretty great, isn't it? Of course, if you couldn't hear, you can't skip this ad because it's already over. But of course, a lot of people didn't skip it because it's so hilarious and so interesting and funny. This ad won a lot of awards the year this campaign came out because, of course, people want to skip ads when they're interrupting videos, but this one ended up, well, not getting skipped. Oh, there's a series of them. I hope you guys have seen these and watch them, look them up.
You can't skip this Geico ad because it's already over. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Okay, you get the idea. Let's just move on. You can look them up on YouTube and watch for yourself. Those were video ads, and next is the other category. And the biggest line item in the other type of ad format, digital ad format, is classified. And I just wanted to run this past you so you have an idea of how classified ads work. So classified ads, if you pick up newspapers, a lot of times they're the ads in the back, if the newspaper even has classified. They are in the back of the newspaper, and these are ads that are run by individuals, like apartments for rent, jobs open, and maybe garage sales, and I'm selling puppies, that kind of thing. They're not businesses that are running the ads, but they're individuals. So they're just little tiny ads, and they're not, they're priced for individuals, not for businesses. So we have these online too, and there's a whole slew of websites that fall into the category of classified advertising. And again, these are ads that list products and services. They're usually purchased. The ads are purchased by individuals, not by companies. And big categories are jobs sites and real estate sites, cars, Those are the big categories. So now you're probably saying, "Oh yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about now. This makes sense that it's classified ad." And the pricing model is the individual would pay per ad, per listing. So I guess you could run an ad in Cars.com for maybe $50, but maybe it would be $250 depending on any of the variables of the ad. So some examples are real estate. Zillow is a big real estate site. If you have a home that you're selling or renting, you would be the advertiser advertising on Zillow. And yes, real estate companies advertise here too. So yes, there are companies that buy ads that are technically classified. That does happen for sure. But it's a format that's open to individuals. Cars for sure. A lot of individuals sell their cars, and yes, dealerships will run ads here, but individuals will too. I mean, this is not even a dealership. This is the manufacturer, Toyota. This is the brand. So dealers would be a little bit more local, and they would run ads in here. National brands are going to run the banner ads. They're going to run those other types of ads, and individuals are going to buy the listings, which is more like this one here. This is a listing. Career Builder, companies that have job openings are going to buy an ad like this to advertise that they have a job opening, right? So, UX designer, Westwood, Missouri. So you're familiar with Career Builder, and there are a number of sites like that. These sites stay in business because they sell these listings, and these are called classified. They fall into the classified category, classified ad type. And then, of course, there's Craigslist. And you're saying, well, why is this here? Because Craigslist is free. And that, if you're thinking that way, I say high five to you. That's great. You're right. But it's not free to everybody. Craigslist has bills to pay just like any other company. And they actually do charge for some of their ads in some cities. What kind of ads? Mostly real estate in large markets. A market's a city. So San Francisco real estate, you're going to be charged for the ads there. But most of their ads are free, you're right, but they still do charge for some of them. So those were the ad types and ad formats. If you're a web publisher, you want to make money, and you want to make money by selling ads, you have to make a lot of decisions. You have to decide what type of ad you're going to sell. So we just walked through all of those different ad types, and you got an idea of how you would sell those, what would be the pricing model. So there's a little bit more that you might need in order to get ready to sell ads. You're going to need to make all of these decisions, basically. You need to decide if you're going to use an ad network or if you're going to sell the ads yourself, the easy way, the hard way. No matter what, you need to know your site audience, especially if you're going to sell the ads yourself, because advertisers need to know who is your audience, who's going to see their ads. You have to decide what types of ads you're going to sell. You're going to have to decide where the ads are going to go, like in a layout on your page. Where are they going to go? Are they going to be defeating the purpose of your site and people will get overrun with banner ads? Are they going to be seen or not? How many ads are you going to have per page? So you need to make a lot of decisions. And the final item here is when you're selling digital advertising yourself, advertisers are going to expect reports. Yes, they're going to expect to know how those ads are performing. They're going to expect a full interface that allows them to log in at any time and see how many impressions have been sold or have been loaded, how many of their 50,000 impressions have loaded, what's going on with those ads, how many of them have clicked, how many more will be run. And this is all called ad management and ad serving. It's another component if you decide to sell the ads yourself. Advertisers are going to insist on this. They're not going to give you money and then not see how those ads are being managed and served. So you have to be part of that. And basically what you want to do is use a trusted system. You don't want to build this yourself. It's way too complicated. And you need a system that's going to keep track of all the advertisers on your website, all of the ads that they're running, how they're serving, And that means serving means the ads are being shown on your website. Those impressions are being run. And each advertiser is going to have a different request, different orders for how they want those ads to be served. For each ad, they're going to have different stop dates, different number of impressions that have to run. They're going to run on a different location of the site. Maybe they're going to run on the home page, interior pages, the top of the page, the bottom of the page. Some advertisers are only going to want their ads to run specific days of the week or not specific days of the week or times of the day. Some advertisers are going to need their ads to only run in certain geo-targeting. We covered a little bit of that later. Remember that zip code thing with This Old House. Some of them might want IP targeting. For example, Northwest might want to run ads to IP addresses coming from Missouri Western. If somebody visits this site, or I want to only target ads from people who are sitting at Missouri Western, and they're going to say, "Hey, come to Northwest," right? That's IP, Internet Protocol. So there's all these different variables, and actually many more, that advertisers are going to ask you for, and they're going to want this certain type of ad serving, and you have to be able to do it, and you have to be able to report back to them in real time that all of this has happened. And once again, Google is here to help. They have a company called DoubleClick, and DoubleClick actually does that ad serving. You've probably seen or heard of DoubleClick. If you're on a website and watching the page load, and if you look at the bottom left-hand corner, when a page is loading and all those files are being loaded, you're probably going to see DoubleClick pop up. Or if you view the page source, you probably see DoubleClick in a lot of big sites. A lot of big companies hire Google, or they hire DoubleClick to do their ad management and ad serving. And this video is going to explain how that works a little bit. So I think the video can do it better than I can. So let's watch it.
Growing websites need tools that grow with them. As your website gains more exposure, you'll have more choices to make about when, where, and how different types of ads should appear on your pages. Advertisers may have started contacting you directly to purchase ad space on your site, and you might be joining new ad networks. Managing, scheduling, and prioritizing your web advertising can be made easier with an ad server like DoubleClick for Publishers Small Business. You can manage your ads from a central place, measure the performance of your ad space, and maximize your revenues. Here's one way ad serving works. Imagine you're a car website that already runs ads from AdSense and another ad network. One day, a big name manufacturer contacts you directly to advertise their new car on your website. They want to purchase 1 million ad impressions that run on your homepage in September to be seen only by visitors in the UK. Your DFP small business ad server can deliver those car ads for you exactly as requested, while still showing the other ads you're running through AdSense and other ad networks. If you're using multiple ad networks or working directly with advertisers, an ad server can give you an advantage. DFP Small Business offers the powerful tools you need to help maximize the value of every single impression on your site. Sign up for a DFP Small Business account today.
Okay, so pretty cool, right? This is why you don't want to build that yourself. I think that was a pretty concise explanation of how all of that works. If you want to sell ads, make money by selling ads on your website, and you want to basically do it yourself, you're going to need a system like this, DoubleClick. DoubleClick for Publishers is what that stands for. You're going to need that because advertisers are going to demand all of that capability. And again, you don't want to build it yourself. So Google DoubleClick is a good way to do it. Well, that wraps up our making money by running ads on your website. So there's a lot of jobs in the making money area. I've covered just in this video, there's probably 3 different careers, or you're going to be working with people who do a lot of this stuff. So learn these phrases and terminology and how all this works so you sound good in that job interview and get hired. That's it for now.